Hey, hi guys. Today I am discussing organizational behavior, and this is the last assignment for Sem 1. Though there is a lot of delay, I'm been occupied with a lot of work, and that is why there has been delay in uploading videos. People have been requesting. I apologize for not uploading the videos on time, but still there is a lot of time. 33 days more to go, and we can complete it. So the first question is about abilities. In the introduction part, you define what is abilities, why abilities are required, what basically it is the quality and skills in a person. Now, if you have those quality and skills, you can complete a particular job or a task or a work that has been assigned or that you take it up in your hand. uh, Basically also you can mention few points that in organizations there are different types of jobs which are there. Different departments have different procedures to be followed, and for every job profile there is a particular requirement of abilities or qualities or skills into a person. So you can define this in the introduction part. In the concept part, you have to select any five abilities, be it physical, be it intellectual, depending on what is your occupation or what is your job profile. Depending on that, you can select. So for example, I would say if there's a person who's working in customer service, then say intellectual abilities that are required would be, say, memory to to recollect what all services are supposed to be given to the customers. You have to answer the queries of the customers, so that is why you need to have sharp memory. Then there is number aptitude, basically a calculations. uh, for customer service, into a financial field or into a banking field, customer service number aptitude is important. Why? Because calculations are there. You have to add and minus amount, the debits and the credits that happen into the account. Then there is verbal comprehensive. So the verbal comprehensive is basically the way you communicate, whether it is written, verbal, seen. You need to understand and interpret what the other person is saying, and that is why it is important. Then there's perceptual speed. So this is basically a situation where the person analyzes in this situation, in two different situations, what are the similarities and difference, and then predicting that whether the situation is right or wrong, or in this situation this is how we are supposed to revert or reply or behave. So, and the last I have mentioned the physical ability, which is body coordination. Why? Because as a customer service executive, you have to be on call. You have to speak to the customer, or you have to speak to the customer face to face, and you have to operate your computers. You have to maintain eye contact. So a lot of things. That is why body coordination. And then in the conclusion part, you mentioned why abilities, qualities, or skills are very important for a person to achieve their basically to complete their task or the work which has been given to them. Also you can mention about achieving goals, that is how you complete the work and then you achieve goals, whether it is personal or professional. So this is how we complete the first question. Moving to second question. The second question is about the perception process. In the introduction part, first to define what is perception process, how does it happen, why perception is important. Then you have to define the four stages of perception process. Sorry, the three stages of perception process. Sorry, four stages of perception process. That is receiving data, selecting data, then there is organization of data, and then interpretation of data. So basically, in the first part is receiving data, all your senses, that is your eyes, nose, ears, tongue, touch, skin, etc., which form the sensory body part, will keep on receiving the information. They will keep on collecting the data. Now, data this data is used, so every moment your senses are collecting this data. Moving to the second stage, that is selecting data. So you will only select those data which is important to you. Now suppose if you are working somewhere, and you are concentrating on the screen and you are working out, and if somebody speaking something over at the other hand, you will not concentrate on that. So that data is still, you have heard it, so it is collected, but then you are not really concentrating on that, and that is why it is a selective data. So selecting of data, then there is organization of data. So making an organization of data into say step 1, 2 and 3, and then making a meaning out of it. So that is organization of data. And then interpretation. So after the organization, there is an interpretation that okay, in this situation, this is what is the perception that has happened, or you try to make a meaning out of the data that has been collected. So this is the entire perception process, and then you have to define about how perception process can be managed by an individual. So various points are available in the book. You can pick up from there. I have mentioned 3 points. Information based perception. So your perception should always have a supporting information, so that the perception does not go wrong, or it does not create a wrong image of a particular situation or a person. Second point is personal view. The perception should be free of personal view. You should not consider personal views while making perception. And then self awareness. Basically, this is where the individual, whenever the perception process starts, everybody has a view that okay, this is what I'm expecting, or I this is what is expected to come out would be the outcome. This should not be there. Why? Because if this is there, then always there will be a biasness. You might think that okay, this is my expectation was this, and this is what has come out. So you will again have a wrong perception. So these are few points what you can mention in the concept part of managing the perception process. And in the conclusion, why perception is important in the organizations, and how does it help out, where employees need to understand about what profile, what jobs they have to perform. There should be a regular communication. Why? Because in the COVID period, you are not physically meeting your managers or your teammates, where it might happen that you might have a wrong perception built up that okay, this person is like this, or so. These are the few points what you can mention. This is purely your experience. You can write it in the conclusion. Moving to third A, this is about learning theory. First, to define what is learning, what are the different types of learning theories which are there in organizational behavior. Why these learning theories are important in organizations? So you have to mention about the four theories: classical conditioning theory, cognitive learning theory, social learning theory, and the operant learning theory. Now you have to select one which would define as per the case, which says that Nikita has to really make the team members learn different. They have to unlearn and then learn. Now over here, the best fit theory is the social learning theory. You have to define about social learning theory by Albert Bandura, and then you mention about the factors. So the attention, retention, reproduction, and motivation. So basically, first, for the social learning theory, the employees would pay attention to the seniors what they are doing. Then they will try to recollect, that is retention. Then they will try to reproduce, and then there is a motivation which is given for reproducing a particular behavior. So social learning theory, I would suggest, if you have other theories which you feel is right, you can definitely write out of it. Uh, then moving to third B is the easiest question: reinforcement theory. You have to define about what is reinforcement theory, how can that be utilized into an organization. Uh, Basically, there are four parts of this, that is positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment, and extinction. So positive reinforcement is where the manager is required to give a positive rewards for an action which is performed by an employee. Negative reinforcements is basically cutting down on whatever is the benefits that are given for an action which is not acceptable, or is not expected in an organization. Punishment, where the person is expected not to do that particular activity, so that he's punished, and then the activity has been stopped or the behavior has been stopped. And then extinction is where whatever is the positive reinforcements which have been given, that has been taken over to stop the behavior, a particular behavior that is not expected. So these are the 4 points what you have to mention over there. uh, in the conclusion part, you can mention about why this reinforcement theory is important in an organization. Basically, it helps in changing behaviors of employees, those who, where people, if they are doing good, you can motivate them to give their best by giving positive reinforcements. uh, Punishment is where, people are not expected to work and they are punished, so a pay cut or a, sometimes people would ask to leave the job also. So these are some examples what you can write. I don't think so that is required to be written, but yeah, you have to explain it. So this is how you write the entire OB assignment, and we complete the same one. Thank you and best of luck.